Hey, I'm just making sure you guys can hear me. I'm letting a few people come in and check in with us and, just kind of checking in a couple things. So, making sure you guys can hear me. I always double check. I'll let a couple people join while before we discuss things because you guys are doing exactly what we're doing right now. You are just watching the game, hopefully. All right, I can see you guys can hear me now, so that's a positive. So, first and foremost, we actually have a game on our hands right now. So I'm doing the exact same thing you guys are doing here, watching the game. Um, you know, not going to change clothes. We're wearing the same stuff at home, right? You're maybe supporting the Chiefs, maybe you're not. I don't know. A lot of people like the Chiefs here now. I'm from Kansas City, so we're going to roll with it, and they're an easy team to like right now, and it's a pretty good game here. But as you're aware of, after this, if you're not hanging around and watching the forecast, you're probably going to bed and getting ready for the work week because you're back to work or school. So as some of you start to come in, I want to talk about how we've had some of this rain. And I'm going to go through the spiel here, and it won't be more than about 10 minutes here. So I'll go through the spiel here so you guys can get caught up with what we experienced today and what we're in store for this week, because there are some kind of interesting wiggles to the forecast here for the rest of the week. First and foremost, and I'll answer all your questions on here as we go along. And I got a close eye on when this game ends, so I'll make sure I shut up and answer your questions offline during the game so you can scroll during the commercials, whatnot. But the first and foremost thing that we're looking at right now is the fact that, and we had a couple of inches of rain today, that's more today than we've seen in the previous 54 days combined. So I'll put this on the full screen so you can see some of this stuff. That was officially in St. Louis, right? You look at some of the other spots locally, for the most part, you still had upwards of 2+ inches of rain in Chesterfield, and I know there were a lot of spots more than that. My house got a little more than that, a little more than 3. So, Belleville close to an inch, St. Charles not quite as much. I know there are a lot of people lamenting that they didn't get quite as much as well in some cases. So, that's one thing that we look at here ahead. But, as far as radar estimated precipitation, a lot of spots from south of Augusta, along the river, Wildwood, Baldwin, Ellisville, into Arnold, you got some pretty decent rain. There were some heavier totals in New Athens and Redbud, which even got maybe up to 4 or 5 inches in some cases. However, as we look at what's going on out there right now, the story for us right now is we're going to talk about how this cold front's going to affect us. Now, it's absolutely going to be cooler tomorrow. You're not going to wake up as extremely chilly, but we're talking about 90 degrees this week for the first time in a while. And we can take those jackets, we can put those jackets back on and actually cool off in the morning. It's going to be pleasant. But the key for us is watch this cooler air behind it. That's fine. But where this front is positioned, we'll start to watch storms develop along that. And that's going to be key for us into the overnight hours and tomorrow as well. So as we talk about what's going on right now, you can see that over the last 12 hours, we're still going to continue to look at more of this rain here as I kind of zoom in. And you can see where most of this rain, we've got a pretty decent break here throughout the day. Really, it was actually pleasant. The sun came out. There were a few more showers, and more of these storms are developing to the south right now, but that's where it was really hot, and it's still humid, but that's where it was hot during the day, and it's right along that front. But what I think we're going to see here throughout the night is this specific area right here. That's what we're looking at here, right about here for further development, and as it works its way along that front, that's where we're going to see things start to progress toward us into the overnight hours. So by 5 o'clock in the morning, storms start to work their way into Rolla, things like that. And I think that we're going to see more of that rain kind of settle in here at times. And I know if you're just kind of paying attention, we got 13 minutes left in the game on the third quarter. So I won't talk too much longer, but I just want to give you an update so you can kind of scroll back and forth through this if you're paying attention along. And I'm going to put this on something as well. As we continue to talk about more rain that settles in by midday, I think you're going to see more of that here through 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So expect the middle of the day to be more wet than anything else. And so tomorrow, you'll start off with temps in the mid-60s. We're only going to finish around 70 degrees. So, expect more of that to kind of settle in throughout the rest of the day. Now, the key for us is the next 24 hours. I think we're going to see, some spots to the north, not quite as much rain. Areas south of 44 will probably see more rain than anything else, and it'll be a ½ an inch or less for others. So not much more tomorrow. Our next storm that we're going to watch, this is going to be a key component of our forecast the next few days, and that's why I'm going to write a separate story about this during the game and update you at about 10, 11:30, whatever it may be, on this specific thing. And that's what I want you to pay attention to, because this specific tropical area, this is going to be our next tropical storm and likely hurricane in some fashion, the way things are setting up. But as we look ahead, what's going on is this is going to impact us in some regard as we get closer to the next few days. And that's going to be key when it comes to where does this move in. And this is definitely somewhere between Alabama, Florida, and maybe New Orleans, but I don't know about that right now. And I think this is between Thursday and Friday, but watch where it goes to the north. At this point, it works its way toward us. Now, this is days away, but I want to point that out because it's going to interact with this upper low that dives down to the south. And what I think is going to happen here over the next few days, look at Wednesday. While we'll dry out and warm back up, what you'll notice is, I think eventually that may coincide by Thursday or Friday with this tropical system. And watch how they kind of both sit here. And that is a very key component for us. As they both sit here, it's kind of odd because they almost replace each other. Once this is inland, they almost become one storm and essentially want to retreat to the north. And I don't know that that's going to look like that exactly, but that complicates our weather pattern. For one, it brings a lot more cloud cover and chances for rain, but it kind of sits here. And this is Saturday, so we're talking about almost a full week away from what we're going to see. And then as I put this into motion, watch how still, Saturday and Sunday, this sits here, it's cooler, and then another upper low dives down. And so we could be dealing with pretty consistent chances for rain and much cooler temperatures heading into next week and maybe even beyond. So it's going to feel like fall, there's no doubt about it. But I want you to pay attention to a couple of things here. For one, next weekend, it's definitely going to be cooler than average. But as far as the track, this could change. There could be something that changes a lot. This is still many days away. And the track, this hasn't even formed. This may be scattered, so lots can change. But while rain is likely, this is just going to vary greatly when it comes to totals. So those are the main things that I wanted to point out here as we look ahead for what's going on. So for the most part, I think many people are, like I said, still watching the game, and that's okay. I'm going to get back to the game too. Obviously, paying attention to this. It's 3rd and goal here. But I wanted to give you an update. I'm going to get back to the game. I'm going to put this whole video so you can rewatch it into an article on the web. I'm going to try to update that throughout the week to give you an idea of what's going on, what has changed, what has stayed the same, and that way you're kind of up to speed, because I think the forecast is going to change a lot over the next 7 days. And once we get past this rain to start the week, then it will start to get wonky, and that's where I want to get ahead of things on it. So prepare you for that. Prepare for rain, cooler temperatures, and no 90 degrees in sight at least the next 10 days. Enjoy the second half of the game. We'll see you after the game.